Strategic budgeting is absolutely crucial to your survival as the market changes. So in this video, I want to talk about some high-level budgeting tactics that you can use to not only survive, but thrive as the market changes. The first thing to consider is the market is changing. No one can deny that, right? But there are ways for you to be strategic so you set yourself up for success when things turn around. So right now, a lot of us are shut down with shelter in place. And if we aren't shut down with shelter in place, a lot of us aren't doing anything, and a lot's not going on because of this coronavirus. So I want to talk about how you can be strategic so when things turn around, you're set up for success and you're a few steps ahead of your competition so you get the business. So the first thing to think about is advertising. If you can go out and spend or even be strategic right now and move some things around with your budget, you can set yourself up to have a bunch of leads or listings ready to pop as soon as we come out of this. The other thing to think about is a lot of agents right now are going to pull back. They're going to hoard their cash. They're going to be frozen in fear. They're going to sit on the sidelines. That's really good for the agents that do not do that. I know it's scary and everyone wants to hoard their cash and their resources right now, and that is 100% reasonable and understandable. But if you can move things around and be strategic about it, you can get a head start of everyone else because you're planning when everyone else is fearful, stuck, and holding onto their cash. So let me give you a scenario. Right now, people are pulling back. They're spending less on advertising, they're doing less marketing, and they're stuck. Maybe they're stuck at home with their kids and they can't do a whole lot to generate business. But if you think about this from a farmer standpoint, every farmer needs to till the soil, plant the seed, nurture and water those seeds, get them to grow, and then harvest the crop. Right now, everyone is stuck at home. So a lot of people aren't doing a whole lot of anything. They're not marketing, they're not advertising, they're not getting out in front of clients. So as a result, there's a whole lot less people planting seeds and watering them. But harvest time's going to come when this all ends. And if you're prepared and ready, you can be ready to harvest your crop versus starting to plant and till the soil and water your seeds when this is over. You want to be ahead of everyone else if you can, because if the market shrinks or temporarily people don't buy or sell because they're fearful, there's going to be less deals to go around. So you want to get your unfair advantage, so to speak, so you survive and thrive as things change. So think of it this way. If there's less ads means there's less noise. There's less people to compete with. If you go out and do marketing or advertising or do things right now because you can, and I'll talk about how to in a second, like how to rearrange stuff, you will most likely get higher conversions. Less noise equal higher conversions. Higher conversion means lower cost per lead. You're going to be able to get bigger results from a lower advertising budget because there's less people doing it. There's less people to compete with. So now is a really good time to go out there and gain ground because everyone else is frozen, holding onto their cash and freaking out. And I know that's the natural thing to want to do, but it's the wrong thing to do in my opinion. So the first step to this is to evaluate your position. You need to know how much cash you have. That's pretty easy to figure out. How much credit do you have available, or is there credit you can obtain? If you're a real estate brokerage or you have a team or you have a business entity, there's going to be some bailout programs like SBA loans at low interest rates. I was talking to my banker about it today. She called me up and said, "Hey, is there anything you need in your business?" I was like, "No, not necessarily, but let me ask you what my options are if things change. How much credit do I have, or can I get my hands on if I need it? Not like I need it, but if I do, what's out there? What's available? What's available to you? Do you have credit cards you can put stuff on?" And not like you want to go out there and max yourself out, but if you're strategic, you're going to get way better results now than when things turn around and everyone re-enters the market. So that's what you need to be thinking about. The other thing is, can you defer payments? If you're in a really bad spot financially, there are things you can do with your bank to defer student loans, your mortgage payment, maybe even your rent payments. And I'm not saying to default. That's not a good thing to do because you don't want to ding your credit. But while I was on the phone with my banker today, I said, "Listen, Jamie, what can agents do?" I said, I help a lot of agents. I communicate with them daily. What can they do if they're in a really bad financial position? Can they defer their mortgage payments? Is there government bailout programs? I said, obviously, I could go and study a lot of this, and I've seen a lot of this in the news, but I haven't had time to dig deep and research it. And she said, absolutely, Calvin. There's a lot of things that we can do. There's a lot of things other banks can do. She's with BBVA, but a lot of these banks are going to have bailout programs to help you to defer payments without dinging your credit, without adding interest rates. A lot of them will take 3 to 6 to up to 12 months of your mortgage payments and put it on the end of your loan. And it's not like you want to extend your debt or put yourself into a worse position. But if you need money that can be spent wisely today so you succeed more in the future, and that's a way to do it, it's really worth looking at so you can be ahead of everyone else. If I was an agent right now and I was selling homes, I would look at how much cash do I have and how can I set myself up so when things turn around, I'm in a really great position where I'm a head start versus everyone re-enters the market when we get out of this lockdown, right? So think about it strategically. I'm more on the Dave Ramsey side than the person who goes out and leverages your credit. And Dave Ramsey, if you don't know of him, is all about saving your money, have an emergency fund. And I've done that for years, and it's really served us well. It's serving us well in these changing market conditions because we're in a better position than a lot of people are. So if you're not, though, don't be embarrassed about it. Be strategic, sit down, create a plan, and in a minute we're going to talk about how to invest it correctly. So how much cash, how much credit do you have? Can you defer payments? Talk to your bank, if you have student loans, that's possible. There's bailout programs. There's even SBA loans at low to zero interest, depending upon if you're a brokerage or a real estate team, if you have people on payroll or not. There's a lot of options available from the government. Some of them are in the works right now as I shoot this video. And then the final thing is, what can you cut? I will talk a little bit more about that in a minute. So these are kind of evaluating your position. Where are you at and what can you do? The second thing is, where can you invest? If you're going to invest money right now, what can you do? For example, generating leads, doing marketing that other people can't do, running ads on Facebook or in your Homes and Land magazine, doing direct mail because everyone's at home, etc. And then focusing on things that are going to help you convert those leads into sales and deals when this is all over. So let me talk a little bit about leads. So with leads, you can obviously do prospecting. You can mail letters. Everyone's home. You can run ads. People have more time than ever to read your messaging because they're all in lockdown, or most of us are anyways. The other thing to can think of is, as we are in the state of emergency, a lot of states are starting to shut down cold calling and prospecting because we're in a state of emergency. So some of the things that you may have been thinking about, like prospecting is cheap. If you have time and you're in lockdown, prospecting is a great thing to do. But instead of cold calling, because that's going to be more taboo based on what's going on, you could be viewed as insensitive, or in some areas like New York where they've already said they're putting restrictions on it, you can't even do it, and more states may follow, like is happening with the shelter in place. What you can do is advertising, marketing. You can reach out to your sphere of influence. You can still call your sphere of influence and ask them how they're doing. I absolutely recommend doing that. So look at this from a strategic standpoint. What can you do? How is the market going to change? For an example, if you look at the last recession, as the recession and things started changing, there wasn't short sales like there were towards the end of the recession. In the beginning, banks weren't as lenient or as flexible, but as things progressed, everyone was willing to do a short sale for the most part when it came to banks. And so you got to be wise about not jumping into something too early. Like right now, there's not going to be as many foreclosures or evictions because the government is banning it for the next probably 30 to 90 days. I heard something about 3 months, but in some areas it may be even longer. So you may be like, I want to get into short sales, or I want to get into foreclosures or bank-owned properties. Right now, it may be too early unless you want to do research and start building those relationships with banks, for an example. So think about this from a strategic standpoint. What are you good at? Where do you lend yourself? What are you leaning towards? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? And create a strategic plan on how you're going to invest your time, your energy, and your money to grow your business, plant your seeds, water the seeds, so to speak, and be ready for harvest when this turns around. So think about it. I could offer a lot here, but instead, what I recommend you do is go to our blog at smartagents.com, and we're going to talk a lot more in depth about all of these. It's hard to go into detail in a video like this, but if you think of it from a high level, go do your research, go to our blog, go to other people that you like, and create a strategic plan and how you're going to invest your money, time, and energy so that you are ready to harvest when this is all over. The next thing is how to save money. Anything that's a long-term investment. For an example, if you're going out and doing search engine optimization, you're trying to rank on Google, that may be considered a long-term investment unless you're almost there. that could be something you could save your money on. Right now, if you don't have enough money to even survive, you're going to have to move things around so you can at least survive and set yourself up for success when this turns around. Anything that's unnecessary. For an example, what do you need versus what do you want? Amazon makes it so easy to be like, oh, I want a new TV because we're all sitting at home. Buy it. No, maybe you shouldn't. Maybe watch it on your phone right now if you want to save the money. Also, if you plan vacations for the summer, me and my wife love to go on vacations in the summer. If you've booked flights or booked Airbnbs or hotels, you may be able to get a refund for it. And chances are, when this is all over, if you're still ready to do that vacation this summer with your children, you can probably get a huge discount because there's going to be a lot of people facing difficult times because a lot of people are struggling because of this. A lot of people are getting laid off in the hospitality industry, for an example. It sucks. It's no fun. None of us are enjoying it. But maybe you can get a refund on your vacation if you've already planned it, or save that money and reinvest it in the business and do the vacation if you can later, right? So the last thing I'm going to say is this. Constantly reevaluate your position and adjust as things change. Right now, we're in a 2 to 4 week, depending upon where you're at in the country, in a lockdown. We're right in the beginning of it as I shoot this video. If that gets extended, you may have to reevaluate your position. In our market, where I'm at, Jacksonville, Florida, there's still a lot of homes being listed right now, and there's a lot of homes going under contract. Will they stay under contract? I hope so, but you never know. So constantly readjust. Look at your plan, look at your assumptions, and don't just set them once and think that they remain true as things change. They may get better or they may get worse depending on what happens. So I hope this is helpful. We're going to have a lot of resources on our blog at smartagents.com. Like this video, share it. We're here to help you and help you succeed. What it all comes down to, it's about being smart and doing smart things so that you survive and thrive in this changing economy. So I hope this was helpful. I look forward to helping you more in other videos. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.